Can you feel that? CD's ankle. Ooh, wah! Ooh, wah! Oh, oh. Oh, oh. Oh, oh. Drowning deep in these injuries. We lost so many guys this week. They were breaking their knees. Low scoring and all the nail biters making us ass clench tightly. Get Brett Mitsui. Looking at my opponent's points when suddenly it changes. Drastically it changes. Wow, no, there are no starters now. They've all been placed up on the IR for weeks. Oh shit, James kinda nuked his own ankle. Oh shit, Lamar needs one more rush yard. Fuck no, how did Ryan still lose this game? Vosh is gonna sell his team to the whole league. Oh no. Ramondre just fumbled, Najee just tore his left Achilles, whoa, and Majee just blasted the bums of Baltimore. Madness is the gift that has been given this week. Oh, the injuries. Yo, 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 and what is with it? Welcome back from the intro. We're going to hop into the Wheat Thins Week 3 recap, folks. That's right, baby. Week 3 was insanity. I can't believe how many people were injured. I can't believe the fact that a general manager of this league, of the NSTL, actually put a hex and a voodoo curse on the entire league and ruined multiple people's weekend. We are going to jump into all things injury, score, wins, losses, standings related, and we are going to get into it big, folks. And I just can't wait to get into. Make sure you like, make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you comment. Leave everything down in below the description. Let's hop in to the Wheat Thins Week 3 recap. Starting off in matchup number 1, we're going to take a look at it in one of the very few matchups we had this week where there were no injuries. At all. Shockingly, in the entire starting lineup, 2 guys going toe-to-toe. Insider Castile gets this prediction wrong. He is 0-1 for the week, starting with our Week 3 first matchup. We're going to be taking a look at Chuck and Knuckles and Midnight Cheese. That's right, folks. Starting off right off the bat, Trevor Lawrence has another rough day. Couldn't get 2 weeks in a row of double-digit points. Wasn't going to happen. Struggling yet again against a good Houston defense. Kyler Murray's going to outproduce here, folks, and that's what you're going to see. You're going to see Kyler Murray outproducing with 159 yards and 1 TD, 37 carry yards. That is going to propel him into double digits. A good 6 points better than Trevor Lawrence. And with Charbonnet's injury, even though it wasn't in the starting lineup, with Charbonnet's injuries, Kenneth Walker took the vast majority of the work and yet again shows why he is a great running back with 2 touchdowns propelling him to an 18-point day. He would get outproduced by Kyren Williams by 1 point, however, who had a receiving TD and was much more efficient with his yards on the ground specifically. Do we even need to discuss Monty? Bustin' the bums of Baltimore, you heard it in the intro. He was going off. 2 TDs, 151 yards, something like 12 yards per carry. This guy was fucking bonkers. I couldn't even begin to fucking tell you what the hell was going on there. That guy was on PCP, bath salts, you fucking name it. He was busting all over the field. Javonte Williams was never ever going to be good enough to match that. These 33-point weeks are going to be behind Javonte. Fumbles on the day. And we have Amon-Ra, despite the running game being what really took this to the next level, still keeping pace with Puka, Nuka, the Nukester Nakua, newly minted onto the Arnoy squad as Vashel has been selling off. General Manager Vashel is looking at selling the team. I have heard insider intel that he is looking to sell Daniels as well, but he wants ready-made prospects. He does not want the hypothetical picks and their risk. He wants ready-to-play level players. He wants more depth on his team in time for them to blossom. Moving on, A.J. Brown and Keenan Allen, a toe-to-toe battle, edged out by A.J. Brown, finally shows up. A.J. Brown, no longer a joke and a meme of a player, finally shows up and does what every manager wants him to do on the year, putting up big points into the 20s. Into the 20s we go. Komet gets outproduced by Juwan Johnson. That is going to be looking like a theme this year. That is even with the TD. It is his only reception on the day. You buy one, you get one free. You just get the one. And that's what you get with Cole Komet, folks, is one reception, one touchdown, 10 yards. That's enough to at least keep pace with Juwan Johnson in some capacity, as Juwan would not get any touchdowns there. Romeo Dobbs and Josh Downs are going to get outproduced by Khalil Shakir, but Ramondre Stevenson with 2 fumbles. 2 fumble Rooskies losing it. Losing the job. Travion Henderson would go on after a Gibson fumble when he went in for Ramondre, would go on to be the lead back for the remainder of the game for about a quarter and a half. That is a situation to monitor moving forward in New England. And let's get down, folks, to the nitty and the gritty. The reason that these two teams are in last place, they are bottom super flex quarterback position. Looking at Dumb and Dumber here, folks. Looking at Dumb and Dumber, we had 13 and 11 points. No interceptions for Bryce Young and the rushing TD. So instead of 4 points, he gets 6 points. He still only gets 11, folks. He is not good. It doesn't matter that he didn't turn the ball over today. He is terrible. Tua did his best to lose the game by throwing a game-sealing pick to Buffalo. That man has oatmeal for brains. I've said it enough. Soup for brains, Tua. Tua turned the ball over. Tagovailoa. Awful, awful player. But no injuries to speak of here, and it amounts to a 12-point victory that was going in with a little bit of doubt Monday. General Manager Travis Ornois was heard saying, rooting for the Lions and playing Chuck and Knuckles in fantasy do not mix. It is like aspirin and alcohol, folks. Don't mix. Don't do it. If you need help, call a hotline. In the arms of the angel, fly away from here. We're in the arms of an angel. May you find some comfort. Anyways, our second matchup of week 3 that we're going to get into. A heartbreaker. Let me tell you, and it was Insider Castillo's worry coming into week 3. If you were in the preview show, for those of you that were, you heard all about it. That's right. Yes, sir. It's going to be our week 3 matchup. The matchup of the week. Second Bauer versus Gone in 60 Saquon. That's right, folks. Gone in 60 Saquons is 0-3 to start the year. On a painful note, I might add. They are 0-3 after week 3, scoring the second most points in the entire league. Only their opponent scored more than them this week. And let's take a look at what happened here. Jalen Hurts goes off. Finally gets the passing volume, a rushing TD, 3 passing TDs. It doesn't even matter that this guy fumbled the ball away. Absolutely smokes Mahomes. Not even close. Even despite Hurts and the passing game and volume taking all of the points here, Saquon still puts up 10 and respectively competes with Bucky Irving. And newsflash, ding 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 ding. Omari in Hampton is here after the Najee goes down like he was shot. That looked painful for Najee. Omarion is required to do everything and anything after the fact, and boy, does he. 19 carries, 70 yards, 6 receptions, 60 yards, and the touchdown. Puts up massive points. He could not be stopped and is one of the main reasons they hit the second Bauer won this game. Gary Terry has one big reception to save his day. Got a touchdown called back and now has an injured quad. Outproduces McConkey. Garrett Wilson absolutely destroys T. Higgins, who is now useless and nigh undroppable. If you're in redraft leagues, this guy would be droppable with Browning as his quarterback. That is going to be miserable. Garrett Wilson over 10 times his point. Over 10 times his point. Absolutely absurd. Jake Ferguson has 13 receptions. 13 to Brock Bowers 4. If Brock Bowers didn't have a 2-point conversion, Brock wouldn't have even hit 10 points. He'd have been at 7. He'd have been at 7, 8 points right in there. That is just insane. Ferguson absolutely takes him to lunch and makes him pay for the lunch, mind you. On top of that, Devonta Smith gets his 20. Absolutely popping off. Way outproduces a tat that is not needed in a game where they never trailed. Jackson Smith and Jigba continues his dominance. He is a top 5 wide receiver on the year. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And Lamar, while not outproducing Caleb, it comes down to Monday night, folks. It all comes down to one matchup. And with less than a minute to go in the game, David Montgomery would burst through the hole for the second time, and this man would take it to the house. Less than 2 minutes to go in the game, a minute and a half in the game, he takes it to the house. He would not slide. He would not go down, and Detroit would not go on to kneel out the clock. What would instead happen would be that Lamar Jackson picks up an extra 50 to 70 passing yards to defeat Bryce, who was up going into that drive. General Manager Bryce reached out saying, "I hate fantasy football. This shit is stupid." What a game. What a game this turned out to be. It ended up being by 7 points, but before that drive, before that final drive of Lamar's passing touchdown, this, I kid you not, folks, 60 Saquons was on their way to a win. Had David, the Beast himself, Montgomery, gone down and slid, this game would have turned out differently and we wouldn't have an 0-3. Instead, we are going to be going into week 4, hoping and praying for another year like last year, where we start 1-3 and can make it to the championship. Will it happen? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see how it's looking for week 4 in the preview show tomorrow. And third game of week 3, we're coming at you with 2 different bubble teams looking and needing this to make the playoffs, folks. That's right. 2 different teams needing this drastically. It's Ward of the Rings, and it's hanging with Hernandez. And boy, was this one, again, we're within 20 points. It's basically a couple touchdowns one way or the other. This game turns out different. And I gotta say, more injuries involved in this one for sure. I know for a fact, more than likely. And we got Geno Smith. We got Geno Smith popping off after a week where all he needed was 10 points to win, and he couldn't get that. Bruh. He comes back with and drops a damn near 30 bomb on General Manager Vachel and hanging with Hernandez's head. Drops it on him, outproduces the input Marcus Mariota for the injured Jaden Daniels, who has a hurt knee. Sprained knee, supposedly due to an MRI showing. And CMC is going to outproduce DeAndre Swift every week. Achane is going to outproduce Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco in this game, folks, Pacheco turned around backwards away from his quarterback and ran backwards while turning around backwards away from his quarterback, forcing what would be a backward pass and fumble from Mahomes. who then went on to steal it from a defensive player who had picked it up. I genuinely don't know that Pacheco has a brain anymore.
Breaking news! Pacheco with a brain removal later in Bikini Bottom.
The hard running style that he has had has developed CTE incarnate, and that man has lost every brain cell he possibly has remaining to CTE. Moving on from the running back room, which was just not a competition, we had Pickens with a TD outproducing DJ Moore. That's right, folks, as well as Jacoby Myers outproducing Calvin Ridley. While the running back room was an absolute stomping, folks, this wide receiver room and the tight end room was drastically better and in favor. Despite Tucker Kraft playing, he was clearly not 100%. It was quite obvious. Frankly, Green Bay should have kept them out of the game. Mark Andrews with multiple TDs against the Lions on Monday night. It still was not enough. Why was it not enough? Because Travis Hunter only got 1 reception on the day. Only 2 targets on the day. They frankly didn't even use him as much on defense. The guy was just sitting on the bench half the time. You make that make sense for me, because I can't. What's the point of drafting Travis Hunter 2nd overall, 1st overall, or whatever it was, and then just not using him? I waited, I got nothing. And Dylan Sampson is not a start when Quinshon Judkins is in the lineup. We have found that out. Calvin Austin gets another TD, becoming one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite targets. And Tyrod Taylor, despite an interception and a fumble loss, would go out to outproduce
Today,
Bo
Junior!
Nix, who had only 1 passing TD and less than 200 passing yards, but they were operating. I don't really know how they were operating. I don't know why. Bo Nix has not looked good, folks. Bo Nix has not looked good. He barely outproduces Cam Ward in this one. The fact that we started multiple people for injured folks, we're lucky we didn't start Tracy, who dislocated his shoulder.
Lois, what the hell?
This is going to be a tough team to win games, and we're now sitting at 0-3. This is a for sure non-playoff team, and it's pretty evident that the general manager is going to do what he can to not make playoffs and make his picks the best picks possible. And folks, we got our 4th matchup coming up here. That's right, Jerkin Goff with the Chubb, and it's going to be May coming in really hot. Here we go. Let's look into it. Goff and May. May has his best week of the season, I believe, this week. Looks great passing the ball specifically. It may not be his truly best statistical point week, but one of his best weeks looking at passing, and if he hadn't fumbled, this would have been an outstanding week for the kid. Does outproduce Goff because that passing game was not needed in Baltimore, folks. They ran roughshod over the Ravens, as one would like to say. Genty versus Dobbins. Genty in a bad offense is just not going to score TDs. He is a non-factor this season. Dobbins in a good offense is going to put up TDs. He puts up a TD on the ground and has his receptions as well. Jonathan Taylor is the #1 running back right now in the NFL. That is not a joke, folks, and as long as this man stays healthy, and so far he has, knock on wood, you heard me knock, it's going to be fine. We are going to be fine, but where we are not fine is CeeDee Lamb. And boy, does this one hurt, and a lot of people are talking about the curse of the general manager, Brendan Castle of Chase Jam, when he talked about how this week he had a bad feeling about this week. Well, folks, a lot of injuries. We've gone over multiple of them so far, and here's another one, a high ankle sprain for CeeDee Lamb.
Get Mom! Mom!
Himself. It looked bad, folks. We're not going to show you the replay images. That man was in pain. He came out for one more snap and was not. It was a futile effort, let me tell you. And so you get 0 points out of your star #1 first round pick in the startup draft. You get 0 points, and Odunze puts up another TD looking like the #1 receiver in Chicago. And things start to get scary. Pearsall has an outstanding day for over 100 receiving yards. Drake London can't match that with only 50 receiving yards himself. Hawkinson outproduces Zach Ertz and finally gets his TD and looks like a completely different player with Wentz in at quarterback instead of McCarthy, as well as Tyreek Hill outproducing Adams, both getting a TD, but Hill getting 5 receptions to Devontae's 3. Egbuka could not match Nico this week. He couldn't get his TD. He was an integral part of the offense, and moving forward, he's going to be the #1 receiver with Mike Evans. Another injury, whom we will get to later. Being out, Nico Collins, despite a fumble, goes over 100 for the fourth time against Jacksonville and has a TD. Stroud is saved by his TD pass too, said Nico Collins. And Dak Prescott has an outstanding day throwing the ball. 31 times, 250 yards, and a TD and a 2-point conversion. If he didn't have those 2 interceptions, he might have had even more points. And we get left with a 14-point victory to go to 3-0, one of the few remaining undefeated teams left in the entire league. Goes to it's going to be May. Shockingly, I believe we have one in each division. Jonathan Taylor, folks, is looking outstanding. It's looking like by far in a good offense, just an outstanding running back, hard to tackle. He's not going down. Let's jump in to our next matchup. And in our fifth, but not our final matchup, we have one of the 2 lowest scoring teams in the league this week going up against a team that desperately needed a win to stay towards the top of the division and have a shot at that playoff bye come playoff season week 15. That's right, folks. I'm talking about Neighbors Think I'm Selling Dope versus Buffalo Bills. The 2 that were fighting for the division last year are fighting for the division again this year. And GM Trevor of the Buffalo Bills gets the better of General Manager Heckman to start off the yearly battle. Pulling it up, the reasons why are a great day from Josh Allen. Baker Mayfield just couldn't quite keep up, and nor could Bijan Robinson in a game where they score 0 points as a team. They get trounced by Carolina in Atlanta. It is going to be James Cook still able to outproduce thanks to the touchdown. Chuba Hubbard outproduces Kamara because the Saints have one of the worst games in Saints franchise history. You heard it there first, folks. One of the biggest first half deficits ever leads to a bad day for Kamara. He only even gets 2 targets. It's just not a game. They had him carry the ball 20 times for some reason. This game plan made absolutely no sense. That coaching staff needs to be checked for brain damage. Maybe they have CTE. Neighbors can outproduce Keon Coleman of all people. We started all 4 Buffalo Bills this week. That's insanity to me every week that happens. Neighbors got targeted 7 times. He didn't even get a reception until the 4th quarter, if I remember correctly. And he almost got hurt in the 4th quarter. But you know who did get hurt is Mike Evans, another one of those injuries.
You want to see me do it again?
The theme is so common here at this point. Another one of those injuries, hamstring injury. This is likely going to keep him out multiple weeks. Thanks to a touchdown, he outproduces DJ Metcalf, who had his own touchdown. He just had 1 more reception, so he is up by a point. Laporta cannot match Kincaid, who gets another touchdown. This is a Kincaid resurrection. He's had a touchdown in 2 of the first 3 games for himself. And Olave has his best day with 10 pass catches somehow in that abysmal Saints game. 10 pass catches. This is the 3rd in a row bad performance to start the season for Brian Thomas. He is now entering benchable territory. You heard it here first, folks. Brian Thomas is in benchable territory right alongside T. Higgins at this point. Players you would have never thought in the beginning of the year you would bench for a second are going to be on people's benches moving forward. Etienne, thanks to a rushing touchdown late, outproduces Breece Hall. Breece Hall just can't get a touchdown in that offense despite a high-scoring game. Was not able to get anything going on the round, only had 13 touches. That is not looking good, folks. And Matt Stafford is able to outproduce Jordan Love thanks to an interception for Jordan Love and 1 less touchdown pass. He outproduces by 2 points. This game was not close when you have Hubbard, Neighbors,
Is this your game? Huh?
Laporta,
Is this your game?
Thomas, and Breece all going for single-digit points. You're going to have issues, and those issues are going to lead you to a loss. But what they won't lead you to is a fine, and we're going to jump right into why that is in a moment. And we finally made it. We are at our final matchup, and folks, we have some fines racked up here because we have our lowest point score of the week.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
And a surprise lowest point scorer, as it was the team with the highest total points in the entire league coming into week 3. We're going to jump into it. Our final matchup, Supersonic versus Chase Jam, in a heartbreaker for Chase Jam. And it is We will see how you end up paying a fine that you do not want to pay in this matchup. Number 1, Herbert looks like a top 5 quarterback in the entire league, and we're in a Superflex league here, folks. You saw the video previously with the Superflex counter. We are in a Superflex league, and this matters. Michael Penix, for the second game in a row, cannot crack 6 points. Second game in a row where he fails to crack 6 points is looking like a complete and utter bust, worthless of a roster spot at this point. He cannot pass or throw the ball. He is now statistically worse than Bryce Young 2 weeks in a row.
It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is?
Fugazi, it's a fake.
Yeah, fugazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist.
Firmly in the category of losing his job to Cousins moving forward. Despite a massive day from Jordan Mason moving in on the starting position with Aaron Jones on IR, Gibbs, the team benefactor of its name, goes off and bends me over a table and makes me call him daddy. That's right, folks. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamari, blah, I don't want to say his name. Like, I hate being a Lions fan and watching a Lion stab me in the heart repeatedly on the night and take this victory out of my hands. He goes off, 2 touchdowns, 67 yards, 5 receptions, and another 32 yards to outproduce Mason. James Conner absolutely destroys his ankle. It was one of the grossest things I've ever seen. I never, ever want to see it ever again. He's being contemplated to be dropped, supposedly. Insider Castile's getting information he will likely be dropped. His career looks like it might be over. And he still, despite that injury, outproduces Chase Brown because of how bad that Bengals offense is. It is so bad that Bengals offense, 6 points for Chase Brown, that Jamar Chase himself can only get 8.9 points. And let's be real here. The Minnesota defense is very good, but they're not that freaking good. Browning looked out of his element. He looked fucking atrocious, and it's unacceptable, and they need to get their shit together. And so you have Justin Jefferson himself outproducing the man, the myth, the legend, Jamar Chase by a total of 4 points almost. Deebo Samuel in a game that they are not needed, and Mariota looks like a shell of what Daniels was not the number 1 target. Mariota goes to his comfort in McLaurin. Has a bad day and is outproduced by Marvin Harrison, who did make the general manager of Supersonic a bit frustrated. Definitely frustrated. There is word from inside the camp from a source. They do not know what to do with Marvin Harrison anymore. They don't know what to do and where this is going. They are about at their wits' end. McBride gets the touchdown where Marvin Harrison can in that Arizona offense and outproduces Tyler Warren, who did everything between the 20s, but nothing in the end. They're not giving this guy the touchdowns he deserves. He is looking like an all-world tight end, though. Derrick Henry with a fumble gets outproduced by Quinshon Judkins. After having 12.7 points at the first half, he ended with 10.7. All he did was fumble. An atrocious second half from Derrick Henry and an atrocious game from Zay Flowers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in single digits. Our previous team had 5 guys in single digits, and that's how they ended up with under 100 as well. Now Chase Jam has 5 guys in single digits and ends up under 100 points at 95. They would go on to lose by a total of 15 points, despite having only a 3-point deficit going into the final Monday night game and having 2 players to play to the only player of Jahmyr Gibbs. That's right, folks. Gibbs fucked my ass. And there's nothing that can be done about it. That is week 3, folks. What a week. I can't wait to move forward. And so there we have it, folks. That's the Wheat Thins Week 3 recap brought to you by Wheat Thins, the official sponsor of the NSTL Recap Weeks. I can't believe it's another week over. The standings are starting to flesh themselves out more. Who is going to make the playoffs and who is not? Leave a comment down below the description on who you think is going to make the playoffs. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you join us for the stream. Insider Castile at twitch.tv/Insider Castile. Meet us out there. Come on. I want to see you, all of you in the chat, getting hype. We're going to be live for the Week 4 preview, coming at you live on Thursday. Let's get after it. I'll see you all tonight. It's the Week 4 preview show. Love y'all. Stay safe. Peace.